As for our next speakers, Joe Wool, Director of Ecommerce for Dermatology, and Sanjay Jenkins, Go-to-Market Lead for Replo.
We got the walk-up song. Let's go. Let's go. All right, we're going to talk about funnel optimization today. Everyone's favorite topic. It's my favorite topic. It's all I talk about. It's all I talk about with Joe.
Yeah, my life, basically. Yeah,
yes, it's both of our lives. Yeah. So one big promise here, if you don't learn anything today, come find me afterwards. I'll make sure you leave with something. And the other two things I really want to cover today. Relevance is going to increase the amount that you can scale, and speed in all its forms accelerates the rate with which you can scale. So that's what we're really going to dive in and dig deep in. And to start it all off, one of the big things, one landing page does not rule them all. The big thing that we see at Replo that brands don't do is funnel congruence, making sure that every touch point matches from the ad to the landing page to the post click. And one thing that Dermatology does really well is that funnel congruence, matching everything. Joe, I want to take it back to the beginning. When did you first figure out you needed to think about optimizing each part of the funnel?
Yeah, definitely. So a couple years ago, probably, we're a D2C fast-growing brand. I'm sure many of you have been in a similar situation where kind of every day you're going in to solve the latest problem or find the latest opportunity, right? And that's your whole day. Whether there's an issue with the warehouse that you have to fix, or maybe an influencer posted your product organically and you got to capitalize on that, get in touch with them, and so on. And so that takes up your whole day and kind of doesn't really allow you to dig into the details of a funnel or a funnel of a specific ad. So we were kind of at that point being successful at doing that, but really what it came down to is if you just do the math of the impact on your bottom line of a 5% increase in conversion rate, it's significant. Any size business, whatever size you are, that's a significant impact on your top line revenue. And so we just did that very quick, very easy analysis of how much money would we have made last year if our conversion rate was 5% better? After looking at that number, we just decided we need to put more resources towards this. We need to put more time towards this. And so we really made a strategic decision to shift our e-commerce team to focus, our main focus to be on funnel optimization and conversion.
And what's that look like tactically? What do you have a checklist that you run through on what you do every time you do this work?
Yeah, it's, so I guess it not so much a checklist, but it starts with one problem, right? So it sounds easy to be I want to increase conversion rate by 5%. That's not an easy thing to do. So how do you actually tackle that? For us, it was, all right, let's focus on paid media conversion. And we'll start with one big idea there. And ours was, you know what? We're sending all of our traffic to our product pages, Shopify template, standard product page. Let's just test a very simplified landing page that has a big idea at the top, what product this is, and then has 5 bullet points with imagery explaining what our product does, and give them a 20% off offer on the bottom. That simple A/B test of PDP versus landing page really paid off. I think we saw a 20% increase in revenue per user. Now, it definitely helped that the landing page had 20% off and the PDP didn't. Probably should have caught that at first. But we tested it again with 20% on that PDP and the landing page still outperformed. And so from there, that was just the beginning. And then really how we grew our testing plan was iterate on that finding, right? Move from that to an offer test to testing different products with that template. And that's how we really grew our program to run more tests every month, is iteration on a winner we found, as opposed to trying to reinvent the wheel. So not so much a checklist as we run out, it's really just run a test, take the learnings, run an iterative test that kind of supports what you found.
One of the things I kind of come up to a lot is brands don't actually know what offers to test. They don't know what to sequence. How do you think through that? Are you using ChatGPT to figure this out? Are you talking to Alex Hormozy all the time? What's?
Yeah, I mean, we do use ChatGPT for idea generation for sure when it comes to offer testing. And honestly, if anybody runs a testing program, you're going to get ideas to test from everywhere. You're going to have ideas, your founders are going to have ideas. Scrolling through LinkedIn, you're going to get ideas for testing. So there's never a dearth of ideas to test. It's really more about prioritizing what would be the most impactful. So is this really on a page that's getting a lot of traffic, or is it just something that seems like it would be a good idea? Is it a low effort to launch that test, or is it actually going to take me 2 weeks to get this live? Maybe I don't focus on it right now. And for us, to kind of go back to your question, offer testing was just an obvious choice. I think testing offers is been the most immediate impact on our business. And the way we started was like, let's just test every offer we can. We'll test a flat 20% off. We'll test a free gift. We'll test a 20% off and a free gift. Buy two, get one free. Just like throw everything at the board, because what we started to find was we didn't know. I thought a flat 20% off would always be it. Simplicity is king with e-com. I just want you to know what my product is, and I want to give you a discount, and I want you to check out. But we ended up finding if we do that and we layer on some sampling opportunity, there's not only a conversion rate benefit, but some benefits down the road too, to doing something like that.
I've been helping Joe build a couple pages the last couple of weeks, and they have 3 products that they sample. I've seen those products, like they're burned into my brain, but they crush. Seeing the performance is absolutely nuts. This slide is basically what we're talking about here. Is like really wanted to match the offers, and I would love to dig into this a little bit more, like add to like landing page. Like how deep do you go when you're designing these landing pages?
Yeah, I would say from the start, we really just did it first on a channel level. So just as an example, say it's Facebook. We would test a landing page to our Facebook ads and just send them all there. And then from there, you take it a step further, and we went product. So it's specific product testing and a landing page per product once we found a template that worked. And then it's just, again, like that iteration of take it a step further, right? Like, all right, so I have Facebook now, I have my product. What about the campaigns? Let's do it on the campaign level. Test to the different campaigns, get landing pages with iterations specific to campaigns based on the results of your previous tests. And then eventually with the idea of working it all the way down to ad level. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I have a landing page per ad we run. I definitely do not. But I think one of the things we've been working with Replo on is the ability to get a lot closer to that. So some of the landing pages we're working on is we'll give a winning template over to Replo with some ideas that we want to do, as well as our top spending ads. They'll take that landing page, make 15 iterations of it that match those 15 top spending ads, and then we'll A/B test our control against the ad-specific creative that Replo creates for us. And so that gets us a lot closer to really personalizing to, I know what ad you saw, I can match that on my site, and I can really create a cohesive experience.
Do you think there's like a limit to how like personalization, do you think there's diminishing returns? Have you seen anything like that?
The idea of complete personalization is great, right? Like I would love to act like you arrive on my site and it says, hey, Sanjay, here you go. Like, here's your experience. I think where and I've struggled at least running the brands I've worked on is you try to jump right to that point. And really, the companies that do that well, it's years in the making to get to that point. Yeah, my advice would be just start really high level. Start channel level. Start new versus returning user if you have a tool to support and accurately identify those and personalize at that. And then take the time. It's a process to get to that level of personalization. So diminishing returns, I think, if you're like, I need to get that personalized tomorrow, because then it's like, what do I do next? There's a million things I could do. So yeah.
I will say we are trying to figure out how to do every single human being gets a one-to-one page. That's a fun little experiment we're running. So if you want to talk about that, come see us outside. The next thing I want to talk about is, we talked to a lot of teams. Everyone's swamped. We're all busy. We're coming up on BFCM. But you're still able to do a lot of like testing volume with a lean team. You were telling me like you have just a handful of folks that work with you. And I want to dig into that. Like you're doing all these like offer testing, you're doing all these landing pages. How many people are on your team? How do you have this organized?
Yeah, so we currently on our team, we have about 2 e-commerce resources, myself and another team member that spend some of our time on testing. Like we don't have a dedicated testing resource. That would be amazing, but we don't have one right now. So we have 2 e-com people, and then we have 1 developer who again is splitting time, but we do have an in-house development resource to help us with testing. And then we have a designer who helps us as well. So it's really a 4-person team who spends maybe 15% of their time running a testing program. But the way we've really, I think, put together a good system to make that work is kind of consolidating a lot of the work or removing steps. What I mean by that is like our designer, originally our process would be this, like we'd have an idea for a test, ecom team would set goals for that test, we'd set who we want to target it to, We'd set up the reporting structure of how we'll actually show that this worked or not. We'd pass it to our designer, who would make a Figma file. They would pass it to our developer, who would then develop it. We'd QA the developer's work for a couple rounds and then finally launch it. It's a very long process. So using Replo, what we've done is our designer actually just took it upon herself, which is amazing, to just go in and build within Replo. So we treat Replo as our Figma, as our design studio at this point, especially for our landing pages. And what that does is it removes that whole development process because they can build the page right in there. I can QA functionality of the page as we go, as opposed to having to wait for a prototype and then a dev build. And yeah, and with Replo, I can go in and change copy if I want to, or change a CTA. You know, it's fairly usable. So that's kind of how we approached it. We do have a small team, small amount of resources doing it, but removing steps, I think, and a bit of the bureaucracy of it, and just kind of getting people trained on what actually ends up with results has helped us a ton.
I think what's really cool about this is that you guys are deep in the 9 figures. It's like a really large company, yeah. And you're still running it like a lean operation. And I think more teams should, at the very least, adopt the sentiment or like the vibe of that. Like, you can do a lot with a little. Next thing I want to talk about is speed. And at the beginning, I said speed in all of its forms. So we're not just going to talk about page speed, which we will dig into quite a bit. And we talked about this quite a bit this morning, but also just the speed with which you move. This goes back to just like, operating lean and mean. But first, let's dig into page speed. We're talking about funnel optimization. We're trying to do every little thing that we can to get the most out of the traffic that we're spending. What are your protocols to improve speed? How are you thinking about page speed in general?
Yeah, I would say it's always top of mind for us. There's part of me that kind of always thought if my product's good enough, maybe I don't need to focus on this page speed enough. Like, I'm on a Shopify store, I'll run like other Shopify stores. But what we start to find is you run a store for enough years, you build up a ton of technical debt, you're testing all these apps that are putting scripts on your site. And so you really have to be, it's like weeding a garden, right? You have to, if you're not using that anymore, get rid of it. Get your devs in there to clean it up as much as possible.
And you said you're doing it every 6 months, you're kind of going in and doing a sweep.
Yeah, so we try to do a cleanup about every 6 months, and it helps. I would say my example would be better actually on an issue we've had. So we ended up a few months ago just started to notice a bit of a trail off in our paid media conversion rate, which is very alarming for somebody like me. And so when we started to do that, we looked in and we're like, this seems fine. The page is running really well on my iPhone, in my house, on my Wi-Fi. But we started to dig into it a little bit deeper, watching some session replays of people from, on their mobile devices, kind of out and about in the world. And we noticed that the page was loading slower. And we thought this was a big reason why. And so what we did is, just as a precaution, for some of those pages, we just kind of stripped everything out except necessary tracking pixels. We're like, let's just take everything out of there and see if it actually is a site speed issue. When we did that, we saw that conversion rate start to creep back up. And so we knew we had a bit of something to work on, I guess is the nice way to put it. And so from there, we just started slowly adding in a lot of the stuff we stripped out, and we finally identified a couple things that were slowing us down that we probably could live without, and so we ended up resolving the problem that way. And so, yeah, I mean, site speed, it needs to be top of mind, but I kind of describe it it's kind of like your plumbing. You don't think about it until it's a problem. So you try to stay on top of it as much as you can.
If you're trying to get some quick hacks, if there's few notes that you want to take down, I've got a handful right now. I'll give you. Below the fold, lazy load your images. Don't put in massive videos. Just embed a YouTube video or a TikTok. It's way better for your page. And something that you may not all know, but Shopify lets you put in a 20 megabyte photo. That's the upper limit. That does not mean you should do a 20 megabyte photo. Please don't do that. Compress that image as much as you can. Make it a few hundred kilobytes. Some quick wins for you. Switching up a little bit onto page speed as it relates to meta performance. Do you run how hardcore tests are you running there?
Yeah, we try and test. So the page speed tests will run again, every few months. We'll just kind of do a bit of a check-in. Let's run one. Let's see what we can do. One of the ways, and I'm excited to work with Replo on it, is to do a full subdomain for our funnels. Right now, all of our pages are hosted on our main Shopify domain, again, with a lot of that technical debt and scripts running on a user who just probably doesn't need a lot of the stuff that we're running in front of them. And so we'll do a lot of those those tests on those subdomains to be like, all right, what's the cleanest experience, and does that help? And then we're measuring the bounce rate associated with that, add to cart rate, more top of funnel KPIs. So yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things we'll kind of check in, and in between our many offer tests, we'll run a page speed test every few months for sure.
Let's dig into like speed of execution. This is like, because I was talking to you this morning, I was like, gosh, this guy moves fast. And then just like working with you closely the last couple of weeks, it's been, I realize I need to get better at like operating quickly. So I think speed is a competitive advantage, and you operate a lean team. Like, how do you think about that? Like, what are you tactically doing to like improve speed to get stuff done?
Yeah, I think the boring answer is a lot of it is planning. You can execute quicker if you're planning ahead. So putting together a testing roadmap, and I don't mean like I know what I'm testing over the next 6 months. I have no idea. But I at least know in the next 2 weeks I need to get these things done to get a test out. So a lot of it is planning and making sure your other team members, the resources available to you, can use that time. They know how much time they have, and they can plan to it. And so a lot of that looks like we're moving really quickly, but a lot of the work is just being done beforehand, and so the execution becomes a lot easier. That, and then kind of going back to what I mentioned, like the example of our designer getting right in Replo, we have a great team who's just willing to dive into all the different areas, right? So a designer is designing the page, building it in Replo. Our developers are tackling site speed and telling me our cart experience could be improved if I change this text. It's like we have this like motto of like no swim lanes at Dermatology, and it's very much that, and it's very helpful. So somebody gets pulled to a project they weren't expecting, I know I have 2 or 3 other people who can cover me and not slow down the work just because I was at a conference in the morning and couldn't do what I was supposed to.
Did that change? Like as you've scaled, like you haven't had this like team always. Have you always kind of like had this pace about you, or like is this something that comes with the team?
Yeah, I would say it mainly comes with the team. For better and for worse, I think that's been the way I work too. I'm very reactionary, I guess I would say. And so again, there's good and bad with that, right? Like being very reactionary and trying to work very quickly kind of gets in the way of some of the planning I just said is so important. And so there's a bit of a balance. Like you want to execute, you want to get things done quickly, but you have to balance when it's time to like take a step back and, look at the data and see how much a 5% increase in conversion rate could actually drive for you, and then change your strategy on that. So yeah, it's a little bit of the both, but it's mostly just the team and the ability that they have to shift around projects and get stuff done.
I want to switch it up and kind of start dreaming with you a bit. But there's a question I want to ask before I do that. It's something that you said earlier that's been really eating at me. And you said that you went to LinkedIn, of all places, to find offers. Have you really found on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean,
do we have like people, do y'all like LinkedIn in general here? No, okay.
Yeah. It's more of like I've ran through all my notifications on all my other social media apps. Like, I guess I'll go to LinkedIn. That's how sad my life is. I'm going to LinkedIn for social media.
Get the dopamine anywhere you can, man.
Yeah, right. But honestly, I have gotten a couple of good ideas there, or at least I've gotten references for vendors there that I can reach out to help. Like an SEO agency is an example of somebody that I found just on one of those cheesy LinkedIn posts. So unfortunately, they do work.
Yeah, they do work. I will say that.
Stop them, but I can't.
I want to dream with you a little bit. So we've got a lot of cool AI stuff happening. You've got like AI baked into your workflows a bit. Like, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to as you're trying to grow dermatology? The work that you're doing to optimize funnels. Like, what's like really like exciting for you?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that. Can I personalize the page on the ad level, right? Because that just on bandwidth, like, I can't do. We're launching hundreds of ads a week. Not that I would ever want to optimize to 100 ads at a time, but you'll get 10 winners out of that. So now I need 10 experiences to that. And that's just the beginning. So AI, I think, could really help us make those small tweaks that make a really good landing page perfect for the ad that they saw. But hopefully it could help unlock, after we run the test, like, I think I'm okay at analyzing data, but I'd love to run it through AI and just have it do it for me and tell me, like, this is the actual real finding, what you should take away from this. So yeah, I mean, I see us using it in that very executionary, let's get more landing pages, let's match it, but also to help out on what was the real finding here? Did we get anything from this test? Where do we go next?
Awesome. Joe, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for being such a great partner with us.
Thank you.
And for everyone else, if you want to learn more about this, we're actually going to run some tests. If you want to learn about the tests that we're going to run for Joe, come see us. We're over by the croissants, I believe. And thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good.